if you think D+ is bad, well, just hang around because I'm going to tell you about a movie called Unsane. It's a movie that I was intrigued by, a suspense thriller directed by Steven Soderberg, who did some great films, Ocean's 11, Aaron Brockovich, Magic Mike, Logan Lucky. So he's a big name guy.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. Been around for a long time. So that intrigued me. Also, the movie was shot completely with iPhone technology. So from an experimental standpoint, really intrigued by what they can do because you can get some pretty good video on that. So I'm like, I'm interested. Some talent that you may recognize. Claire Foy is in this, and she's in The Crown. It's Queen Elizabeth, if you've seen the show The Crown. Also, Matt Damon has a cameo. He is a security expert, has a small role in this. The movie was shot with a budget of $1.2 million. Soderberg, as I said, directed this. He really tries to put together this suspense thriller about a woman who has been stalked, and so she moves to a new town to try to kind of escape her past and get away from this stalker. But she's having these flashbacks and really having some uncomfortable situations pop up, and so she's trying to have a normal life, but it's just not happening. And so she decides to go to this treatment center just to maybe talk to somebody. Well, she ends up signing some paperwork that inadvertently gets her committed to.
We've all done that.
To a psychiatric evaluation for 24 hours. Then around every corner she starts seeing this stalker that she left behind, or does she? And so then you just kind of follow what happens after that. I thought it was a really interesting concept, creative risk-taking on the iPhone technology. And also I think Claire Foy was a great lead choice for this as well. But that's really where it ends. I mean, that's where the positive ends for me. It felt like an indie film, but not in a good way. As I was watching it, the lighting was horrible. Some of the shot selections were out of focus. I don't know how you do that if you're a professional. And also some of the shot selections had no purpose. I couldn't quite figure out what they were trying to do with this. They had a musical score, and they also had a sound design where they were just trying to use ambient sound, but the balance was off. You couldn't tell what the purpose of either one of these was. So it was kind of playing at odds with each other. The acting at times, other than Claire, it felt over-exaggerated, almost like your understudies for a weekend theater troupe where they couldn't get a job anywhere else. So all in all, I was really, really disappointed. It was a horrible film on multiple levels. It felt like a film festival reject. What I mean by that is it was an hour and 38 minutes long. 4 times I looked at my watch.
Ooh. That's a bad sign.
4 times I looked at my watch, and I'm thinking, okay, if I'm watching this as a film festival judge, some of my comments would have been all of these things, but I also would have said, if this had been a shorter film, as a film short, maybe. I really think this is one of those things that they were doing, the creativity, trying to be creative other than the substance of this. But for $1.2 million, I think they could have done a little bit better on this, especially bring in some studio lights. Do some better lighting. I'd really love to see a film shot with iPhone technology, but done well, and I think it can be done well.
Were they trying to shoot it with natural light? Was that
yeah, a lot of natural light. But to me, it didn't have purpose. I mean, it didn't add to it. It didn't do anything for it. If you're looking at films that have found footage type films, many times that found footage is purposeful. Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch. I mean, there's reasons that you have that. But for this, if you didn't know it was shot with iPhone technology, you would just say, wow, that movie just didn't quite look right. Well, it's because the lighting and the way that they were framing and the out of focus shots. I was just really, really disappointed in this, and I blame Soderberg. He had complete control over this. He went for experimentation over something that had meaning. And it bothered me because the story, especially anytime, but especially during this time, the story of a woman being stalked and trying to find her voice for people to believe her is incredibly relevant now. It's always relevant, but I think now even more important. And then for it to be done so sloppily in this film bothered me even more. Now I'm really on the other side of the consensus. Rotten Tomatoes, I think it was like 73%.
Really?
And I'm far on the other side of this. I think the movie had potential if they paid more attention to the production value and to the story.
So you're saying it would have been better on an Android phone?
Yeah, maybe, or a GoPro.
Yeah.
Just strap a GoPro to your head. Maybe
all the characters just wear GoPros.
That would have been better.
Well,
so.
I really admire them wanting to use the iPhone technology,
too.
but like, if you're going to do that, I would hope that they would want to use that to show just how impressive it is and how it really can stand on its own, and you can make a movie with that. And so it's kind of disappointing that for them to have used an iPhone, they used it in the worst way possible, as if like, you know, somebody on the street had picked up an iPhone and tried to use it.
I'm right there with you, because I think that if anything, this can give people the potential of, I could do that and do it better. And I think it can be done better. D- for me.
Ooh.
D-, and I don't give that many D-, but the past few weeks I've given some Ds.
Yeah.
So for
giving
those of you watching, go watch Sherlock Gnomes instead of Unsanse.
Do they shoot that with iPhones too?
No.
Okay, quick question.
Okay.
When it is lit well, how does that look projected? I mean, an iPhone video thrown that
Now,
far
I will
on a
say
big
this.
screen.
You know, it looked good. I mean, it looked
really
good
did
on
look
screen.
all right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see.
Just from a technical
From
standpoint.
a technical standpoint, yeah, but I think the way it was blown up on the screen, yeah. I mean, if it had been lit well, I'm probably would not have known it was shot with an iPhone.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's what bothers me, because I think to really do it, you could go out and say, hey, let's do this. I mean, we don't, you know, they didn't have any zooms, you know, they were all, you know, just established shots, but you didn't have to have them. You know, you didn't have to have them.
Sounds like there's so much potential for
Yeah,
that just kind of went to waste.
There is. And I think what it can do is it can inspire people to go out and say, hey, I can do better than Soderberg and do it for less money. Because the $1.2 million probably went to the salaries of Matt Damon, who was on screen for 2 minutes, and Clara Foy, and maybe Soderberg's directing, because it sure didn't go into much of anything else. Let's go and talk about